Good morning. It's a real pleasure and an honor for me to be here today, and thank you, Anna, for the invitation. You know, when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, I wanted to reflect a little bit on my personal story and the impact that the ARC has had on me. I think we were talking yesterday about how the ARC is not just about the research that we do, but the opportunity for people to grow. And it certainly was the case for me. My background was really, I came here to study rail vehicle dynamics. I did work on high-speed trains, modeling simulation of high-speed trains. And then in about 1996, I did a sabbatical at BMW. BMW had just come into South Carolina, and they gave me the opportunity to go work at the research center. So I got interested in the automotive arena. And then the ARC came along, and I'll talk a little bit about the history of Clemson's involvement there. But that gave me an opportunity to start to work on automotive-related problems and getting an understanding of how important the automotive industry is to the security and the well-being of this country. And I want to share with you a little bit of the history of how Clemson got involved and the kinds of things that we did, but I also want to tell you a little bit about how we evolved things to the place where we are today, where Anna talked about the graduate program and so on. So with that, George, this is a long time ago. We were young then. Clemson first made contact with the ARC around 1997. George Fidel was instrumental in doing this. There were a couple of other people, myself included, that participated in some of the first projects with the ARC. At that time, we did not think that it would go on for this long. It was pretty amazing to see how successful and how long this has gone on. And Clemson's partnership in the ARC has been continuous thanks to the effort of George and a lot of our colleagues who are here actually today. In this time frame, we've had over 12 faculty, multiple master's and PhD students that have graduated. Our work has focused in the areas of dynamic system simulation. John Wagner, I did some work in that, a number of other people. Design tools for complex systems. George has been the leader in that arena for Clemson, has been doing a lot of work in that particular area. Heterogeneous materials design, powertrain optimization, energy management. Ardalan Vahidi has been working on those issues. Zoran now is working on the powertrain issues. So lots of interesting work over the last 15 or so years. We're currently very engaged in the ARC. We have wonderful partnership with U of M. We're doing collaborative projects together. So the partnership is alive and well. We're very integrated into the things that are going on in the ARC. We're very proud of that. We're proud of our membership in the ARC and very integrated in what's going on. I think this is the key piece here that makes the ARC so important, you know? I think the opportunity to address real-world problems, this is a big deal. This is a really big deal for an academic. The opportunity to interface with people who have complementary expertise. If you tried to address some of these problems by yourself, you probably wouldn't be able to do them. But having the talent pool, having people with you, working with you with complementary expertise is a big deal. So you can challenge, you can take on problems that have a bigger scope of impact than the problems that you may be able to just solve by yourself. And I think this multi-university partnerships, this is where they're so important. I think for me personally, it's also so important to know that the work that we do has some bigger purpose. The fact that we're addressing the critical needs of the nation and the industry, I think, is a really big deal. We heard from our colleagues, you know, at TARDEC, from the Army Research Labs, from Pat Davis at DOE. We need to focus on solving those kinds of problems, because for the US to be competitive, we need to be able to do that kind of, bring high quality work and be able to solve those problems. I think an issue that a lot of people don't normally talk about, but was talked about significantly here today, and I think is probably the biggest challenge that we face. Because if we look at the demographics of young people today going into science and math, they are not very encouraging. They are not very encouraging. So how can we bring these young people to come and work on problems that are critical to the security and safety of this country? Well, the ARC is a great tool to be able to do that because the problems are challenging, the problems are exciting, they're cutting edge. We can bring people here who would like to work in these particular areas. Workforce development is a key piece, but not just the fact that we want to graduate more engineers. We need to graduate the right kind of engineers. That's really the big challenge. If you look at the Vision 2030 for ASME that ASME has put out, it states that we are not in academia really doing what is really needed for industry to be competitive. Okay, so we need to look at that and answer the question, are we trying to produce the right kind of people? The other thing I would say, and I noticed in Anna's slides, Anna, Clemson was missing in the talent that you have provided through the ARC to a number of universities. We have hired 3 faculty from here, Ardalan Vahidi. They're all graduates of the ARC. Ardalan, Rob Pruka, who is not here, but worked on ARC projects, and of course Zoran has joined us. We're very proud of that. We're very proud of these young people that have joined us, and they are doing terrific work in the ARC for us. So we're very happy with the talent pool, but also the fact that you have so many people who are dedicated to working on these kinds of problems. That is a very critical piece. So we're very happy about that. Why Clemson? Why should Clemson be a part of the ARC? What's the big deal? Well, Clemson has, as I mentioned, a long history of vehicle dynamics research, but we did a lot of rail stuff first and then started to do automobile stuff. Through the work that we were doing with the ARC and some of the other things that were going on, we were able to convince the administration that automotive and transportation technology should be one of the top research areas for the university. When we first decided this, people were very skeptical. You know, automotive industry is a dying industry. It's old school. It's this, that, and the other. Look at the industry today. It is probably one of the most exciting places to be. The car of the future is full of new technology, full of interesting ideas. And the presentations that our colleagues were making, you know, as the future of what's going on in the defense industry, I mean, how much more exciting stuff could you dream of? It's so challenging. So automotive and transportation technology is one of those core areas for Clemson, and that has led to Clemson investing a huge amount of money in this particular area. Today, we have more than 25 faculty and 230 plus master's and PhD students who are focused on automotive engineering, on working on automotive problems. So, and of course, the fact that the automotive sector is a big part of South Carolina's economy. But I want to emphasize that our work is not just for South Carolina. Our work encompasses the industry as a whole. We're not just interested in working just for the state of South Carolina, but really solving problems for the industry as a whole. Finally, I'm just going to end with this particular slide. I have a dozen more, but I know that Anna is concerned about time. But I just want to say this. So we created a center. This center is the Center for Automotive, International Center for Automotive Research. We need to come up with new acronyms. You know, we got to do a little bit better than that. But we did add an I in front of it, so Naeem, a little bit different. But 250 acres. We worked with industry, the state, and Clemson. Together, we put together a package where $230 million are invested in that center, focused on the automotive industry. We have, of course, research areas. I won't talk too much about them. I think we all know what the critical areas of research are: lightweight materials, you know, powertrain technologies, connected vehicles. Yes, we all know all those areas, and we work on a lot of those. But really, the important thing here is that we're trying to produce a workforce which is a little bit different than what you traditionally find. So we have a master's and a PhD program. In a master's program, it's a fixed 2-year program. The students actually build a vehicle. They have to build a car as part of that program. And they don't just build any vehicle. They build a vehicle that is sort of built for a customer like an OEM. So we start with a clean sheet of paper. They have to go through and do market analyses. They have to go through and figure out, you know, the requirements. They have to actually do the simulation work. They have to build the car. We emphasize the science, but we also emphasize in that program the hands-on work, because this is what creates the complete engineer. So we have an interesting partnership here with the Art Center in Pasadena, California, because we need to teach engineers to think out of the box. They have to look, when they're looking for finding transportation solutions, they ought to look at other industries and try to figure out what they can bring from those other industries into finding solutions for the industry. So to date, we have about 21 faculty in the center. We've graduated about 170 students, about 25 PhDs, 145 or so master's students. 93% of those students are in the industry. Paul, I'm sorry there are not too many of them at Tardec yet, but we're going to work on that because I think that's very important. But we're very proud of that. But I would say, just in ending, thank you to the ARC for so much that you've done for Clemson. We really, really appreciate the collaboration and the work that's gone on here. So thank you so much.
Today I've been asked to reflect on the Automotive Research Center since it started 20 years ago, especially since I've stepped back from it.